Second down and 7 for 31. Dropping to throw. Salter, all kinds of time. Throws it to the end zone. Miller's out there. He makes the grab. Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! Omarion Miller. He made the adjustment as he turned and spun around. Well, Omarion Miller had 2 touchdowns for the Colorado Buffaloes. They jumped out 14-0 second week in a row, but for the second week in a row, they end up falling as they lose at TCU 35-21. Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson, Coach Gary Barnett. Well, there's a lot to talk about in this one, Gary. You talk about teams winning ball games. There are also games you lose. You kind of feel like Colorado lost this ball game tonight.
No, I don't think there's any question Colorado lost the ball game. We were not outmatched in any way. We weren't necessarily outplayed. We just committed so many foolish errors, so many foolish decisions, so many just decisions you can't make in games and at this level. And that's going to get you beat. I don't care who you're going to play. And so this is a game that was gettable for us. We'll regret not playing better, but we did have we had a freshman mistake. We had some questionable calls, I thought, for not officials necessarily, but just some decisions that were made by players and by our coaching staff that everybody's going to question. And I don't think there's any question. Everybody's going to question what happened here. So, it's somehow you can't keep putting something on top of it. You can't put another rug on top of it. You got to clean it off, and you got to get down to the core and figure out what this is and why it's not working, and make it work better. And that's the head coach's responsibility.
One of those was right at the end of the first half as the Buffs were up 14-0. It's 14-14. They drive it down, have it first and goal from the 1-yard line. You got 7 seconds left. You got a timeout left. Running play, throw it away, kick a field goal, you're up with the intermission. They throw an interception in that case. Kaden Salter, 3 interceptions. He does some very nice things. And then other times he does some very unhelpful things for his football team.
Yeah, he's as a former play caller, it'd be really hard for me to call plays with him. I don't know what he is, and I don't know what his real attribute is. If he'd been with me for 2 or 3 years, I would say it would be leadership, but I don't know that. We've seen the guy for 7 months. So, Kaden had a tough game. I mean, 3 interceptions, and that was in the first half. I mean, it's hard to overcome 3 interceptions against a pretty well-coached football team.
I worked with a coach years ago, and he gave me the percentages. When you turn it over once, your odds of winning are this. By the time you get to 4, it's nearly impossible. Here's the thing, though. This isn't going to get any easier. You got an Iowa State team coming in next week. This is a very even league. Every game's going to be like this, where it kind of hangs in the balance. And if you don't make plays, you're not going to win.
Let me tell you, you've got Utah left. You've got Arizona State left. You've got Iowa State coming in this week. You've got Arizona. All these teams are winning. We're going to West Virginia. We got our work cut out for us, and so you can't continue this way. I know that you can't continue, and you got to figure out, even if it's a decision doesn't work out, you got to do something about this.
The Buffaloes have got a lot of work to do right now as they fall 35-21, losing at TCU. Coming up next, we're going to talk with our sideline reporter, former quarterback Bobby Passamano. Senior takes a snap, drops, scans, throws it wide open over the middle. The catch is made. Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! It's Miller time. That's Omarion Miller. Well, 2 touchdowns for Omarion Miller. Really was Miller time, but the Buffaloes lose at TCU 35-21. Our former quarterback and sideline reporter Bobby Passamano joining us here for a couple of minutes. Here's the thing about this. Last 2 years, Bobby, we talked a lot about this team was not winning up front in the trenches. The offensive line played relatively well. So the defensive front in this ballgame. This was not an issue of what was going on up front.
No, you're exactly right. And I think that's what causes a lot of frustration, right? What we're used to where we were lacking is now maybe playing better than anywhere else on the field because the offensive line is playing great. We're running the ball well. We're protecting the quarterback when we drop back. And the defensive line played well, against TCU tonight. But, it is frustrating when you're used to that being the weak spot, and now they're playing well, and we're failing at other places.
Yeah. In fact, the offensive line, plenty of protection up there for Kaden Salter. I mean, you were the quarterback. You knew that. He had plenty of time to throw. What's your read on what you're seeing from number 3?
I don't feel like I feel like there's maybe a lack of confidence, right? There's not this decisive decisions being made, right? He's not making decisions with confidence, and there are some times I think just physically the way he plays, he's throwing off his back foot, and he throws with a low elbow, so it causes the ball to sail and be underthrown sometimes. So I think he does a lot of good things, but then just by the way he plays, it creates some bad things. So it's tough sometimes because you want to let him play, but I think sometimes when you cut him loose, he starts making mistakes.
Where this team is at right now, first time they've been 0-3 in conference play since 2017, 2-4 overall. This becomes, you and I were talking about this with Coach on the radio broadcast, we wrapped it up. This becomes a mass responsibility. This isn't just a coach got to fix, not a player got to, everyone's got to be part of this.
Yeah, everybody's got to buy in. They got to figure out who they want to be, and everybody needs to buy into it and commit to it and do it, right? And, okay, you can't worry about who screwed up or who made the wrong decision or who made the wrong call, right? You got to turn the page and you got to decide who you want to be, and the coaches got to sell all these kids that's the right thing to do, and the kids got to believe in it and hold each other accountable to get it done.
You know, we missed you. Game 6 for your first game this season. Where you been?
Well, you know, this is only the second road game, so I was just busy with kiddos the first one, but happy to be back here, and this is a cool place to come play a football game.
We got them for 3 more down the stretch of the season. Next week, though, it's Iowa State in town. My goodness, am I happy to have a 1:30 ball game next week as the Buffs will take on the Cyclones at Folsom Field. We'll hit the air on the network at 11:30 from Dwayne Field. But the Buffs fall frustrating second week in a row of 14-0, and they lose. This one 35-21. They fall in Fort Worth. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.